the price of the hardware. $450. I do not remember our predictions. If you guys remember our predictions, then just remind us in the comments down below. I don't find $450 to be ridiculous. I don't think that that's a horrible price. Would I love to pay less? Absolutely. But I don't think that it's, oh my God, this is so expensive. I think it's fine for $450. I would have preferred $400, but $450 is not unreasonable. Rich, is it unreasonable to you?
I don't think it'll fly off the shelves at $450. Like, will it sell out on launch day? Sure, it's Nintendo. But I think it'll have a hard time having the same year one success as the Switch One. I feel like that's a bold prediction. But I think $450 is a lot, and people are actually struggling right now, right? Like these are hard times, and $450 is a good amount to ask for when you don't know what you're getting, at least not yet, in terms of price to performance, right? It's not the price in a vacuum. It's what you get for that price. And I didn't see anything that blew my socks away enough for me to be like, yeah, $450, that makes sense. It feels a little out of reach.
Russ, do you think 450 is out of reach, or do you think it's going to be okay?
Well, I don't remember what number I settled on in our last conversation, but I remember arguing for cheaper, like I was like on the cheap end. Yeah. And I feel like 400 was kind of my limit. And so 450 is above that. And, Rich makes a good point. It's like we are struggling every day. It feels like it's getting worse. Like at a daily basis right now. Yep. And that's not something that I'm used to thinking, in terms of just like, gosh, are we going to be able to afford whatever a week from now? Like that's how bad it's getting. And so that coupled with the fact that when the Switch One came out, it was a good price. There was nothing really there for it to replace, because there was the Wii U and no one had it. So it's just like this new thing. So it was a new thing. But now the Switch 2 is like, well, I still got my Switch. Like there's that whole kind of feeling. And I'm in that camp where there's like the creator side of me, and then there's the Russ as a dude guy. And as a dude, I would not be buying this. Like I'd be like, I don't even play enough of my Switch games to justify getting a Switch 2 right now. But as a creator, I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy this thing because I want to review it, And so I think that probably that sentiment is probably carrying over to other non-creators, right? It's just kind of like, I already got a Switch One, like the kids can wait, or, I can wait, that kind of thing. And so I definitely agree that it's not going to be a runaway success at this price point with the environment that we're in. And then also the fact that there already is the Switch One. It's like the PS4 to PS5 transition. People take their time, and I can see that happening as well.
Can I double down on what Russ just said? So he was talking about... Yeah. So with, you mentioned like creators and just dude bros, right? And right now I'm somewhere in between. I haven't made a video in a couple of months, and I don't feel like I need to pick up a Switch 2 on launch day. And that's kind of crazy for me. So like, I know there are all these restrictions on pre-ordering a Switch 2. I don't think I meet those restrictions, right? Like, and I'm not in a rush to try to like work around that. When I didn't get the Steam Deck because of like all of the internet issues that Valve was having in Steam, and so like I wasn't early, I was Q2 or Q3 or whatever. I literally started a YouTube channel in hopes that I could try to get one early. And I'm nowhere near that for the Switch 2. It's just like, okay, if I get it on launch somehow, that's cool. If not, I don't feel like I feel like I can wait a few months.
Well, I think that when the Switch came out, there was nothing like it. Now that the Switch 2 is coming out, there's a lot of things that are like it. And that absolutely changes the game, I think, for Nintendo and for the people who are interested in picking up these devices. For me, I was settled at around $400 was going to be the price, I think. An extra $50 doesn't really bother me all that much. So even if I wasn't a content creator, I would still be getting this right away because I'm very excited for Mario Kart World, which we'll talk about in a second. But you go ahead, Rich.
Here's one thing I'll add is I feel, and maybe my feeling is misplaced here. I feel like Nintendo should have tried their best to like make this a no-brainer buy for most people. And I think their attitude is like, they will come, they will buy it. Like, we don't have to do everything to make them buy it. They will just buy it. And that's the feeling I'm getting. And I wish that weren't, what they were conveying to me.
It feels like hubris. It feels like the end of Rome to me, kind of. I'm not trying to be doom and gloomy here, but it feels like that kind of hubris point where like, they'll come. That kind of Apple mentality, which somehow works. There's too much out there. We'll get into this more, I think, when we start talking about prices of games and all that kind of stuff. But it's too much. This is hubris to me.
Well, I mean, so we talked about, you guys mentioned pre-orders. Pre-orders have now been canceled. Nintendo announced pre-orders were going live on April 9th. That's in 5 days from the day that we're recording this. And then today they said, you know what? Never mind. We're not going to do pre-orders yet. We want to sit and wait and find out what happens with the tariffs, because the current administration just put out crazy high tariffs basically across the board. And Nintendo felt like, I think that they did not an earnings call, but they did a thing with investors where they talked about their plans for the future. And one of the things that they said was, we're not really too worried about tariffs because we moved most of our manufacturing out of China and moved them into Vietnam and Cambodia. Well, I think Vietnam has a 35% tariff. And I might be getting the numbers 45. Wrong. And then Cambodia is like 49% tariff. So Nintendo's like, well, we don't know how much the Switch 2 is going to cost anymore. And we don't want to do pre-orders because we'll use Russ as an example. Let's say Russ pre-orders at $450, and then the tariffs make Nintendo raise the price to $500, $550, $600. Well, then I would say they'd have to honor his pre-order, but what would probably just happen is his pre-order would get canceled, but that would be a bad look for them. So I understand why they're doing it. This is not just going to affect Nintendo, though. This is going to affect Nintendo. We've got this Xbox handheld that's supposed to be coming out later on this year. That's not manufactured in the U.S. We have the Lenovo Legion Go S Steam Edition that's coming out later this year. I'm sure the Xboxes and PlayStation 5s are going to go up in price. And if you were looking to buy yourself a new graphics card, well, chances are the price is going to go up on that as well. And this is a huge black eye for the industry, I think. What's your reaction to that, Rich?
Yeah, so with Nintendo kind of saying that they weren't worried about it, I both understand and am questioning their logic. So on both sides. So why I say I understand is because one thing we've seen is that this administration is, gonna say they'll do something, not do something, then maybe do something, right? So like we saw this with the tariffs a couple of weeks ago when they were kind of reverted and
with Canada.
Delayed. With Canada, yes. But then on the other hand, this is not the first time we're seeing like this tariff action. It's more extreme this time. But I was working for a mattress company during the 2016 to 2020 administration, right? And mattresses had really extreme tariffs at that time. And the company ended up shutting down. But the point is, like, it was the same thing. It was like it started in one country, but then the tariffs were kind of applied on multiple countries. So as the mattress company was trying to change their logistics and move from importing from one country to another country, the tariffs would, change on them, and ended up, like I said, the company shutting down. So it's a weird, crazy situation. But yeah, you're right. This is just the beginning, it seems.
Yeah. Russ, do you think that the Switch 2 is going to be $450?
I don't know. Like there's the part of me that hopes it, right? Like because, you know, I was just saying that 450 is a little high, you know? And so, there's definitely a part of me is like, just stay there, you know? But it's such a volatile market right now. Everything is just crazy. And it's hard to trust what's going to happen in the future just based on how these things have been rolling out and then pulled back and rolled out and pulled back. And, when are we going to call, you know, the bluff, you know, kind of thing. And when are they going to actually allow the pre-orders? And so it's all unknown, and it's the worst time possible probably to launch pre-orders for a handheld console. But
yeah,
they got all that stock. They got to move it. So.
That's true. Nintendo does have a lot of money. So, all right, let's